Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Yes, you in the back. Rudy, can you go back to the old Magic? Like, have you noticed like anything before 2020 in Magic? Like, does anybody care? Like, what? How come everything in Pokemon ages and gets rarer and better and more expensive? And how come everything in Magic? Well, I mean, nobody wants anything. Why is everything from Magic just like that whole bronze era from 2011 to 2019? Like, okay, all right, I know what you're trying to say. So, folks, we're going to have a return conversation today regarding the different eras of Magic. We've done a little return conversation just to see everybody's reaction on reserve list cards and older things like that. Be curious to see how the views and interactions are on that, or engagement. But I think it's important for everyone to understand right now when Magic releases Final Fantasy, these universes beyond direction that Magic is going to, old fogies and people who've played the game longer than a couple years are generally going to be unhappy, concerned, or awkward, or just uncomfortable with the direction of it, okay? The issue is the data shows it's working, and then the problem is everybody who's excited about Final Fantasy, collectors going to God knows what they're at when you watch this video, well, the boxes pre-2020, they don't feel exciting to younger people. There's no pizzazz. They don't have that rush. They don't have the variance. Essentially, Wizards, I feel like Wizards has made older booster boxes almost feel obsolete. Like they've made them, I know the power level, this and that, but I feel like Wizards has made like Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance and War of the Spark. Let's pick on the last three sets before we went to this new flashy collector box serialization era, okay? So 2018, 2019, the last three sets that were just available in a normal box like Pokemon, Guilds of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiance, and War of the Spark. That was it. Well, at the time, all three of those sets were incredibly successful for WotC and Hasbro. They were incredibly successful. People loved the Shocklands. They loved the power level. They loved, what was it, Assassin's Trophy or something? Some crazy rare for $10, $15. And then, of course, War of the Spark, a Planeswalker in every pack. I mean, they were incredibly successful. They were incredibly successful. But now, in 2025 standards, if I look at those sets, and if I talk about those sets, people go, well, I really don't want it, Rudy. There's no good cards. They've all been reprinted. Secret Lair has reprinted anything of value many, many times. They just don't hold up to today's standards. Right there. You see the difference? Secret Lair in the secondary market has annihilated the value of these older cards in Magic. Number two, the way they look and feel compared to a modern Universes Beyond flashy thing, they don't, it's not even the same ballpark. So the question remains, well, is $125 Guilds of Ravnica or Allegiance box from 6 years ago? I mean, that seems really cheap. War of the Spark, there's been multiple attempts at War of the Spark for people to buy out the sealed product. Multiple times. Happened like 3 times in the last 6 years. People have tried to buy out 50, 100 boxes of War of the Spark and push the price up. Now, of course, War of the Spark was almost $200 at the peak before Magic 30. And Magic 30 had that vacuum where it just sucked out collectors and investors and they left the market. They went to Pokemon. Now they're going to Flesh and Blood. They went to One Piece. Maybe Star Wars collector boxes now. Lorcana, at the beginning, maybe. Only at the beginning. And, they left. They left. And collectors and investors in modern Magic, they want collector boxes. They don't want these old people boxes that just don't have the oomph. If you take a company, Wizards, and you create a division called Secret Lair, and you keep hand-picking all your own cards and cashing in the equity and selling them direct to consumer, well, you're destroying the secondary market. And by destroying the secondary market, it prevents the box prices from going up, and it also kind of suppresses demand. Now, Wizards, in all their almighty imagination, They have cracked the code because they figured out a way that will... Because see, you guys got to remember, in this bear market of magic in 2023, the reason nobody thought it was going to recover, and the reason it was the greatest thing ever, the swing was so intense in 2024, is nobody saw a path forward. I'll never forget the videos. Ravnica Remastered. Who's going to buy Ravnica Remastered collector boxes for 200 and what did I sell mine for? Some fucking stupid 220 or something, 229. Who's going to buy them? What are you going to buy? What do you get? $10 Shocklands are going to go down to $2? Every other rare in Ravnica has been reprinted 30 times. How many times? What, return to return to return? That taco has been here longer than your stepsister. That taco's the same age as your wife. Like, that's what they did. They nuked it. Okay? So everybody was like, everybody believed, including me, until I saw data and there was emails to myself, what value can Wizards put in Ravnica Remastered collectors that's going to make people want to buy them? So, I pick on Ravnica Remastered, everybody, because that was the turning point set, by the way. Because before that was Ixalan and Wilds of Eldraine. But Ravnica Remastered was the first set they actually cut the print run. So the serialized cards are super easy to pull in Ravnica Remastered collectors. And that was a turning point when I had some emails to myself and I had confirmation of things that definitely did not happen, that I knew the market was going to turn because of some corporate actions from Hasbro and Wizards that definitely were all fake that I made up, if you get my drift legally. So nobody thought that bear market, because everybody was on, and including me, everybody was on the same page. Because, if every card has been reprinted in Nukes and Secret Lair, and everyone's like, every modern card is worthless. Like, is there even a modern card that's even worth $100 anymore? Like, even one card? And then, of course, Pokemon Army over here says, well, when you have dumbass management, what do they say? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes? No. Fuck around, the more you fuck around, the more you find out, right? The fuck around, find out scale. All these things, right? In Pokemon, they just continue to do their thing, and it works. That's why they don't change it. They don't change. Pokemon doesn't even need to pull the secret levers, make a Pokemon collector box, make serialized. Can you imagine serialized Pokemon chase cards? Jesus, I don't even want. Please, for the love of God, don't ever do that, Pokemon. The market would just be. It'd be done. It'd be over with. I don't even want to talk about it. But take a moment to understand what I just said. If the Pokemon market ever got so bad where the company had to jumpstart it and swing it back up, Pokemon has a whole arsenal of things that they've never tapped into to make sure Pokemon lives on to the future. Do you understand that? They're saving the arsenal of tools in the tool bag. And they have all these tools that they can deploy to pump the market. And they're doing so good, they don't have to. So, anyways, point of the video, though, is a lot of you guys asking, Rudy, honestly, man, just be straight up for me. Not Rudy patron prices from years ago, not people who bought your $80 boxes that you sold to them and everything, all the $80 draft boxes or $84. No, just normal. Most people paid $100, $120 at release. And most of these older boxes from the last, from that era, maybe between 2018, 2022, most of those draft boxes are still 120. So most people have held or have cards in products that haven't done anything from those draft boxes. Okay, pre and post the flashy era. So the question is, in 10 years from now, are we going to have 15-year-old draft boxes for $120? Are we going to have 20-year-old draft boxes? Is the year going to be 2030 and we're going to have boxes from 2015 for $120? If you rephrase the question, and that's why I try to move around, don't be creepy, Rudy, but try to move around and try to view things differently. And when you kind of step in, that's what I did with Pokemon, with Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet, Rudy's Pokemon Bathroom, all these different things. I try to view things that are against how I see it. Or I try to view things in a way that I wouldn't normally see. I would kind of go, okay, Okay, yeah, okay. Nobody wants War of the Spark, right? It was almost 200. Magic 30 crashed it back down to $99. Okay, it's 2025. It went from $99. We're back to 125. So War of the Spark's creeping up again. But I mean, are we going to be in the year 2035? And there's going to be War of the Spark, which is going to be 17 years old. And you're telling me a 17-year-old box from Wizards and Magic is going to be $100, $125? I have a hard time believing that. And remember, these markets can fuck with you. They are more rational than the craziest ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend you've ever dated in your life. These markets can be more manipulative, they can be cold, and they can just annihilate you psychologically. If you don't believe me, ask anybody who was around during the Rudy time of Wildsville Drain collectors, or Ixalan collectors, Lord of the Rings holiday collectors. Ask anybody who was around in different eras. What about Baldur's Gate collectors at $300? And 9 months ago, I ran a loyalty sale to patrons. Long-term patrons got Baldur's Gate collectors from me for like $129. It's almost a 3x in what, a year? I mean, it's all relative. These markets can drive you up a wall. And you have to be very cautious of being overly bullish and overly bearish. Because no matter how extreme happy or angry you are, it's probably never as good and never as bad as you think. And it's your own perspective, it's your own skewed blinders, your own Rudyisms that's making you maybe be too excited. Because I'm looking at, like, for example, let's pick on something else. Where should we go to? Amonkhet. Kitty Cat. When I first heard Wizards was going to do an Egyptian set, for 6 to 12 months, you have no idea how excited I was. Because Egyptian set was the closest to like a Middle East, Arabian Nights, like that culture, that history, I would be able to get in a Magic set in modern times. Everybody knows Arabian Nights is my favorite set. Historical standards, things that are banned and sensitive, whatever it is. I just like history. I think it's fascinating. And when I heard of a new Egyptian Magic set, Egyptian themed with gods and different lore, I was through the roof excited. And then they put the Masterpiece lottery cards in Amonkhet, and I was the most deflated, sad high school Rudy. Like the chick who left me because I was the loser who was going to be dead broke, being an oil change Rudy. Like it all came crashing down. Like I became 18-year-old Rudy doing an oil change for $5 an hour again, and the chick walked away as I was the biggest loser. And it all hit me when Amonkhet was completely just awful. That was the feeling. And I was like, the one time we get a new Arabian Nights, Egyptian, Middle Eastern theme set, and Wizards, in my opinion, does a shitty-ass job with it. With cards, you can't even read the text. With artwork and things that don't, it's just computer-generated just shit. I just feel like they didn't put a lot of effort into it, you know? So, with all of that story out of the way, and bored you guys for 30 seconds, Amonkhet today is almost $300 a booster box. Because they have Masterpiece cards. So the question remains, Amonkhet hit $300, Magic 30 crash happened, Amonkhet went all the way back down to 180 at the low. And now in the last 18-month bull market, it's gone from 180, Amonkhet went all the way back, and now we're back to an all-time high on Amonkhet Kitty Cat, our Egyptian beautiful little kitties, is back to about 300. All-time high. And it's stuck there. The last 6 months, it hasn't gone higher or lower. So now the question remains, does the only Egyptian set in Magic ever made, never going to do that shit again probably, I even heard from like corporate, no, I emailed myself from corporate Wizards Hasbro people when I sent my email that came to my left nut, that there's like regrets and hate internally in the company that they don't even like that they even made. Like the name Kaladesh, the Egyptian Amonkhet, the old Arabian Nights, a lot of the they don't even like they're embarrassed of their history. That's how fucking stupid our modern culture is. People can't even talk about history. You don't have to like it. You're supposed to learn from it. You're not supposed to agree with everything. That's humans. We're not supposed to agree with each other. We're supposed to learn from the disagreements. The world we live in, folks. But still, is a $300 Amonkhet box, is the year going to be 2030? In 5 more years? In an Amon kitty cat box, it's still going to be $299? So now that box is going to approach 15 years old, and you're telling me it's been the same price for the last 12 months. So the next 5 years, the price stays the same. Okay, so maybe it does. Maybe Rudy's full of shit. Maybe it does. Okay, let me present this to you all. Let me present something else. So let's say suddenly someone likes it. Someone takes 10 grand and buys it out. 5 grand. Someone actually just says, you know what, maybe it's underpriced. And they pick on Amonkhet like they did with Kaladesh when Wizards did, we're never using Kaladesh again. It's Kaladesh was racist, or was it means black, or it was Middle East, or money? I don't fucking, it was something was racist. We're all racist. Some shit happened. Who knows? I don't even. And then Kaladesh skyrockets to 1,000 and then plummets back down to what? I don't think it's back to the old low of 300. I think Kaladesh is back to maybe 400s. So it never went back to the old low, but it went back down most of the way. Okay? So what happens if Amonkhet does the same thing? Pops from 300 to 1,000, crashes back down to maybe 400 or 500, but it never goes back to the old low. So there's all these scenarios. And then, of course, what we learn from booms and busts and buyouts from these different eras is depending how many people have the product dictates if the price goes all the way back. So what we saw happen, remember Scars of Mirrodin? Eldritch Moon? Some of these other sets skyrocketed. And some of these buyouts and things that were going on in this kind of bronze era magic market. Well, guess what? Eldritch Moon didn't go back down to 150, 200. Scars of Mirrodin didn't go back to $300 a box. These Scars of Mirrodin, I haven't checked it, but I'm gonna guess Scars of Mirrodin is probably $500, $600, $700 a box. I mean, what? Maybe there's 10 boxes for you can get under $1,000. So there are, see, when it spikes, there you can tell the situations where people don't have it. Because everyone says, oh, you list your box, lock in the profit. Well, the problem is you can tell people don't have Scars of Mirrodin. Because it never came back down and people didn't list the product. The people didn't lock in the numbers before it crashes. So, conclusion of this video, which means we're halfway through, is looking at the whole situation, ladies and gentlemen. It's very difficult to get younger, non-old fart Rudies to be interested in anything older when the new product has this much this much flashiness, this much craziness, right? There's so much draw in just the gambler's premium, the rush on these new products. All these chocobos worth a fortune. All these portrait Final Fantasies with the numbers in the back. The Surge foils, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 a card. And of course, the golden chocobo, golden lottery ticket, worth a minimum $40,000. And if you hit a special numbered one, what, $100,000 a card? Do you see my point? When you look at all of this, and you take this situation into consideration, this is why we continue to see vintage in a bear market. We see older sets not as desirable. And I don't see a short-term path where this changes. There is all the money is being absorbed into new magic. The vacuum, these new sets, this is like your stepsister. She is the sucker 5,000. This market, she is sucking every piece of money into the new products. That vacuum, all the money is going there. There is no money flowing to vintage. There's no money flowing to older products. That is just what's happening. I don't really like it. I'm not really comfortable with it. Just like you guys aren't comfortable with half the shit I say. But that's what's going on. That is the reality of the world we live in. And that is probably not going to change anytime soon. Now again, if you've been around this channel for 10 years, you know we've been through a lot of market cycles in this YouTube channel. Booms and busts, booms and busts. At least 2-3 times we've been through the whole boom and bust cycle in the decade we've been doing this and talking to you guys. So there will be a time when the market turns. And some people believe when the market turns or Wizards releases the next thing or something collapses in Pokemon or Magic, that all this money and all the evil scalpers and the flippers and everybody chasing this new thing, eventually that money's going to get rerouted to somewhere else. Maybe it goes back to real estate. Maybe it goes back to Bitcoin. Maybe it goes back to the S&P. Maybe it starts chasing old stuff. Maybe it chases graded video games again, or comic books, or coin collecting, or paper money, or I have no idea, stamp collecting. It could go to any direction. But in the current market, in the foreseeable future, I'm sorry, folks. It's just anything that's not new Magic will underperform, and that is the nasty reality. And you're talking to a guy who's got 8 figures in vintage Magic, but the reality is, I see zero evidence that this is going to change. Even Silver Age of 2000, 2010, which we really never talk about on this channel, even to Bronze Age of Return to Ravnica, all the way to War of the Spark era. I don't. There'll be some anomalies, some random things that'll kind of pop. Maybe like Kaladesh and banned words, but overall, it is what it is, folks. Thanks for listening. Another episode of Storytime, everybody. Hope you guys have a beautiful day out there.